Hey everybody, Billy Obenauer here, welcoming you back to another episode of Using the Open Science Framework, or the OSF. This is episode 3, preparing your OSF project for peer review by anonymizing your files. Now in a previous episode, we had showed you how to anonymize your project by creating anonymous links for peer reviewers. Okay, now a lot of people think that once they've created those anonymous links, their OSF project is anonymized, but that's not always the case. I'm going to walk you through one example of how we can have a project that is not anonymous, even though we've created anonymous links. Alright, so over here I've got my sample project, the same one that I used in my previous video. Sample project is loaded up here, and I'm in the user form, and you can see under contributors it says William Obenauer. You can see over here under recent activity it's got my name listed, but I created an anonymous link for this project, and I'm gonna just go over into my incognito window where I've got that anonymous link pulled up. And now that I've switched over here, you can see I'm using the anonymous link. Contributors say anonymous contributors. All the recent activity says a user did this, and it might look like my project is anonymous, but I've uploaded a lot of different files to this project, and those files can compromise anonymity. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the different things that we want to look for in our files that can compromise anonymity. Now, right off the bat, as you look at my file names, you can see a few problems here. Right, I've got a do file, which is basically my analysis syntax in Stata, and that do file is called Obenauer Analyses. That's going to tell you right away whose project this is. Now, if you look at my Word file and my PDF here, they may not look as obvious, but they're OSF episode 3 underscore OB underscore the date. Now, that underscore OB right here is where a lot of people put their initials. Okay, and for me, I always put OB, which is the first two letters of my last name. Most people put their initials, so somebody like me might put WGO as their initials. But that also can give away what your identity is. So we want to be very careful with what our file names are. Okay, we want to make sure those file names look anonymous. So naturally, you'll have your own typical file names on your computer, on your hard drive, but you want to rename your files before you upload them to the OSF for peer review. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the content of our files and how that content can also impact anonymity. So I'm going to click on this Word file here, OSF episode 3. Okay, and that opens up a new window. And in this one, the preview window opens okay. And as we scroll the preview window, and this is just some fake text that I had ChatGPT make for me. But as we go through this file here, I don't see anything that is really worrisome. Okay, nothing that I see a real problem with. I'm going to do a Control F on this, and I'm going to just look for my name. Nothing comes up when I search Oben, so I might think that I'm in the clear here. But let's take this one step further. I'm going to click these three little dots. I'm going to download this file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and download it. I'm going to open it. It opened on another screen, so I'm just dragging it over here. I'm going to enable editing so I can take a look at it. Okay, now as I scroll through the file again, all of a sudden I notice that there's comments in the file. Now, I had turned the comments off before I uploaded it, but the comments are still here. Okay, comments are still here. And right here, my name pops up. William G. Obenauer, can someone check this reference? All right, so we can see right away that we want to look at our comments, right? So step number 1, we want to make sure we delete our comments. All right, then the next component related to comments are that we might have track changes in our document. So here I hit next on the track changes, and it brings me over to a change. Doesn't look like a big deal until I hover over that change, and it shows me who added the change. Okay, who made the change in each situation. And again, it shows that William G. Obenauer made the change. So that's another place where we want to take a look here, is our track changes. Okay, then there's another place, one final place in your Word document where you might give away your identity accidentally, is if we go up here into File and we go into Info, you can see that the author of this file is Billy O, and it was last modified by William G. Obenauer. So that's just me on 2 different Microsoft Word accounts. Okay, but that shows up right there, even though we've uploaded this to the OSF. So what we need to do to take care of this and get this file clean is we need to check for issues, inspect the document, go ahead and inspect it, and then we want to remove our personal information, reinspect it, and we don't have any personal information showing, and you can see I've wiped that information. Okay, so similarly, we would want to go back and we would want to accept or reject all of our changes, and we would want to go into our comments and we would want to delete our comments. So we would make sure we have no comments left in there. Now we can see there aren't any comments. Make sure that we don't have any changes left. Then we could save this file. We could check the info. We could see that there's not any author related information. And then the final thing we would do is we would change the file name to something that didn't include your last name or your initials before you upload. All right, so those are some of the key pieces you want to look at on your Word files. Okay, then we've got this PDF file here. We're going to click on that to open that up. And here again, the comments pop up. They're not quite as identifying, W01, which is William Obenauer 1. So somebody could draw the connection. It's not quite as obvious, not quite as big a deal, but it is still an indicator of identity. Once again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to download this file to take a look at it. All right, I'm going to save that file and we're going to open it. But you know what? That's not the way we want to open that. We are going to do one more step here. All right. Download this. We want to open the folder that it's in so that we can open it actually in a program. And when we've got this in a program, we're going to click File here. I'm going to go down to the document properties. And in the document properties, I can see it's got the author as Billy O. So once again, we would want to go ahead and we would want to delete that, get that out of there, and then resave this file before we would upload it to the OSF. Because when we go into the document properties, we want our PDFs to show no authors. Okay, so now I'm going to show you one final place where we can compromise our anonymity in our OSF files, and that's in our analyses. Okay, and this is a really common place that we see this happen. So I'm going to click on my do file here. And first thing you notice is that my name comes up right away, and that's because we're telling the file, or we're telling the program what file to pull. So we say use, and then the file path includes my name. All right. So one of the things that you want to do with all of your syntax, you want to go through and make sure you clean up these file paths and just have it say the last piece. So use comicdata.dta. You'd want to delete all of this other text out of it. Okay, so you'd want to delete everything that includes the university system, everything that includes your name. And it's really easy to miss this stuff in your file. So my recommendation would be that before you upload any syntax to the OSF, you just do a Control F and just search for the name. Okay, so in this case, you see that my name comes up according to this 10 times. Okay, now one of them is in the title, but that's 9 other times that there's a file path in there. Okay, and that's because you're going to use your file path when you use a file, when you save a file. There's a lot of different places that can come up. Okay, one other place in our syntax that we can potentially have some type of way that we compromise anonymity is if we have a note about who created what. So in this case, in this syntax, you'll notice that I'm just going to do a quick search here so I can find the line for you. But I pretended that I was working with my friend Roman on a project here, and I put *** Roman's additional analyses. Now that's another place where we would potentially compromise our anonymity. So we not only want to search our own names, but we want to search the names of our collaborators in our syntax as well, just in case we have any notes in there that are going to be indicative of our identity. Okay, and by going through and scrubbing our files clean, we can better preserve anonymity in the peer review process, which is going to support open science. All right, so just to recap here on everything that we went over in this episode, what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to anonymize your file names Inspect your Word documents and your PDFs for the file info like I showed you. Make sure that you delete comments from your Word files. Okay, accept or reject all changes in your Word files. Search your files for your name and your co-authors' names, and also look for file paths in the syntax. Now, this is not an exhaustive list of things that you need to do to anonymize your files when you upload them for the OSF, but it's a pretty good comprehensive list of some of the most common problems that we run into. Okay, so I hope this video helped you. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it promotes open science and helps you use the OSF more effectively. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.